Hello and welcome to episode 10 of the Youth Intake Challenge with Dudley Hamlet. Things are going a lot better than expected. We're having a great season and players developing well, so stick around and I'll give you a brief update. Welcome back. So quick bits of news to get you up on is I constantly pester for improvements to the facilities. We haven't had anything progress in terms of the training facilities, but we have managed to get through an increase in the youth recruitment, so they're going to give us a bit more of an improvement in the network, so we should hopefully see a better calibre of players coming through. They've rejected the youth facilities and they rejected the training facilities. It didn't even give me a chance to discuss them, so we'll have to wait till a later date, maybe when we've got a bit more funding, to try and push them again. The other bits to look out for in terms of news is Dean Spence. I mean, what a player he is. He was already our best player by a country mile, but as you can see, one of his pros is that he's a good Sky Bet League 1 player. We've got him playing in the Vanarama League South, so he's a full 2 divisions better than where we currently are, and he's been absolutely phenomenal. I don't know how long we'll be able to hold on to him because clubs are sniffing around, but again, in terms of his development, stats wise, he is nothing short of a phenomenon. If I just get into his report, and he'll be the first of a couple of players we'll maybe dip in and have a look at, but he just keeps getting better and better. I mean, that was 4.5 stars back there, and he just keeps going up and up and up. And I don't know what his potential threshold actually is, because I don't know how far he could actually go, but he is far and away our best player. And the day he moves on, I think will maybe be worse than when Oscar Allen went, and that's saying something. So yeah, fantastic from Dean Spence. We'll keep a hold of him. We've got him on a long-term contract, and hopefully we can keep him for a long time. The other bit of news that we'll keep you up on is the youth intake preview. We've got a good central midfielder coming through. Perhaps that's quite timely, in that Dean Spence might well not make it to the end of the season. It looks like we might have some kind of replacement coming through to take over once he's gone. A couple of wingers in there as well, which is good because we've got Gilder on one side and Amawako on the other. If we can get someone who's of the same calibre as them, then that's fantastic. We've had some good defenders come through recently. We're still looking on fullbacks, and there's not a great deal of quality at fullback. It's a D rating on here, but obviously we'll wait and see when it comes through. In terms of the competition then, so league placing, we're currently 6th. We've got a game in hand against some of the teams around us as well, so we could maybe get as high as 3rd. I mean, what a change that is. I didn't think we'd do as well as this season, but some of the players have really picked up. The development on some of them is skyrocketed, and yeah, we're looking quite comfortable in a number of matches, and I think we can hit each game expecting to maybe get a draw as a minimum, if not win the game. So that's been fantastic. You'll see that within the schedule. I mean, again, we went through the whole of August without losing a game. I mean, we followed up a second. And in the second month, September, we got beat by Hendon. That's one of the teams we would expect to beat. Whereas we were beating some of the teams we were maybe expected to lose against. We had a good run in the FA Cup. I think we got all the way to the FA Cup first round, where we met Cambridge, and despite Ekpiteta getting a goal, we did go down 4-1 to Cambridge. And again, month by month, we've really made some good progress. Beat by Boreham Wood narrowly. The only result really that didn't really go our way was away at Maidstone, where they beat us 3-0. We had no response to them whatsoever in that. You can see we scored quite a huge number of goals along the way. We've been knocked out of the FA Trophy by Dorking, which again, they're in the Vanarama National League, which is no surprise they beat us, but I thought we could have given it a better go than a 3-0. What that means then in terms of the squad, and we'll just have a look at a couple of the players in here. In terms of the current ability, we've already seen Dean Spence. Lolo Atienza is another one. He's already at 4.5 star current ability. His potential is increased to 5 stars, so he's got a bit more room to grow. His stats are looking really good, and when we go into his development progress, again, just exposure to game time is just see him go up and up and up, and he's got no sign yet of levelling off. When you look at that through the attributes per all time, again, he's been brilliant. He's a bit less determined than he maybe was at the start, but the stats that really count, to positioning and marking, concentration, they've all gone up really well, and his physicals have largely gone up as well, apart from his natural fitness of 4. But the rest of them have gone up. Even his pace has gone up to an 8, which is fantastic. He's one of the best defenders in the division, I think. So between Spence and Atienza, they've been outstanding. Jay Gilder, who came back from his broken leg, he came back with a maximum 3-star potential. That's actually changed now to a 4. He's been on a fantastic run of form as well. He's already got 6 goals, 7 assists in the 20 league games he's played. Again, we've always seen his stats have grown a lot quicker than some of the other players, but when you look at his development progress, again, since he came back from his long layoff with a broken leg, he's just picked up where he left off. Took a little bit slow to get going, but as the season started, kind of July, August time, his exposure to game time has seen him go flying up again. And again, when we look at the attributes of all time, again, his decision making's gone up by 8 points, which is quite incredible, really, to see such a drastic change in some of his stats, and they seem to be a lot higher positive jumps than some of the other players. I don't know if it's a personality trait perhaps that he's got. I don't think he's in here. Fairly ambitious, so it could be to do with his personality trait, but again, he's been a shining light so far this season, coming back from his broken leg. Outside of him, I mean, Jack Ruddy's been a goalkeeper with us for a while, but Steve Tracy, who is kind of taken over from Oscar Allen up front, he's got 11 goals in 27 games, 5 assists. He's maybe not seen the attribute change that we would have expected, but he's starting to get a little bit more progress. He's starting to play more games and go up. So again, he's got a high potential threshold, but in terms of his attributes, he's not really had the jump some of the other players around him have had. However, he is still quite young. He might have a little burst come towards the end of the season. He's only 18. I think they develop quite quick up to the age of 21, so we might get a little bit more out of Steve Tracy. And the last one we'll really talk about in this episode is Ouedraogo, who again has got more exposure to the centre of the midfield. He's played a lot more games recently, and again he's at 2.5-star current ability with a 5-star potential threshold. And as we've seen with Spence and Atienza, is we don't actually know what that ceiling level is, but again his mental attributes and his development have jumped massively since he's played more and more games. And again, you can see the curve up it goes, and I don't know how high he will go, but he should be starting to see a lot more attribute changes, certainly in the mental side. Not seen anything really in terms of technical or physical, but his mental side's starting to pick up now, and we'll see how much further he can go. Schedule wise and aims for the rest of the season, then I think it's just more of the same, really. If we can keep this bit of form going, we can get towards the end of the season and hopefully make a playoff place this time. I think top of the league might be a little bit of a stretch, although we did beat Welling when we played them, and we do have a game in hand. We can get within 3 points. It's going to be hard to drive up there. And the only other worry before we get to the youth intake at the end of the season is holding on to our best players. I'm trying my best to latch them onto long-term contracts. So we're in 2027. Nobody currently expires till 2028, which is the 4 original players that we had. Everyone else from a youth perspective is signed beyond that. And then our best players, Atienza, is 2030, and Dean Spence is 2031. So each time one of them 5-star players comes up, I try and get them early on the contract renewal and get them for as long as possible. So we'll keep using that methodology. I think we're getting close to where some of the players start to turn 20, which will be exciting. Again, their physical attributes and everything should be just about the highest they're going to get when they hit 2021. I don't think they'll go much higher after that. But again, it's a really good squad. We're doing really well, and let's hope it continues. In terms of the players who aren't in the first team squad, we do have a lot of players in the youth system who are also developing at a fairly good rate. So again, the ones with the highest potential threshold are the ones that I generally try and keep an eye on more than anyone else. But got a huge number of players out on loan, a huge number of players that have that 5-star potential threshold. When they come back at the end of the season, it's a choice of whether we integrate them into the squad. And for the ones who don't have a high potential threshold, it's about maybe just letting them go to free up some of the wage budget. Like Andrew Fontas, who was our reserve right back last season, he's only got a 2-star maximum potential threshold, so we'll probably let him go along with some of the others, and that'll free up some of the wage budget, and that'll enable us to generate more money. Because if we look at the finances, we're doing really well. We're 369,000 in the black. I think the projection looks bad, but I think that doesn't take into account some of the competition placings, etc. So again, we need to find a way to just turn the finances around into positive threshold, which will allow the boarders to give us the training upgrades and everything that we need, and we'll be absolutely flying. So hopefully when we get to the end of the season and the youth intake, we'll be in a really good position. If we are in a good position at the youth intake, and we'll discuss it when we get there, we'll look at showing the games, whether it be the playoff, just to see if we can maybe eke up a league into the National League. I think we've got a good enough squad to go up if we develop just a little bit further. I think when you look at, we've got 2 really good players, 3 if you include Gilder in that. Some of the younger players are starting to catch up. We just need, I think we need probably 5 or 6 players really meeting their potential before we're truly ready to go up and hit it comfortably. If we go up too soon, I'm just worried that we would come back down again, and that would then put our job at jeopardy, which would then be the end of the challenge. So fingers crossed we can do it, but until next time, hopefully that's been a good enough update for you. If anyone wants to look at any players in particular, or there's any aspects that you want to see in terms of the other screens, let me know and I'll include it in the next video. But outside of that, I look forward to the youth intake, and I'll see you next time. Take care.